Welcome back to That's Debatable, presented by Bloomberg and Intelligence Squared. The motion, stop worrying about deficits. We bring in now our global audience. People around the world weighed in on this debate, and we turn to IBM Watson to understand what matters most to them. Here's how the artificial intelligence works. First, people around the world submit their arguments online. Then, the AI assesses the quality of the arguments, filtering out any irrelevant submissions, and sorting the remaining arguments into for and against. Next, the technology identifies the recurring key points, ranking them based on their quality and their frequency. Finally, the AI creates a coherent narrative of the strongest and most prevalent points for both sides of the debate. Okay, and now we get to hear what the results were. This is a selection of key points and arguments that our global audience, again, more than 1,000 people around the world, thought were most important on this topic. Let's listen in.
Hello. The following analysis used AI models to identify the critical key points made by each side on the motion, we should stop worrying about national deficits. 50% thought we should stop worrying about national deficits, with 17% of those arguing that national deficits have no direct negative impact on the economy. One argument said a high deficit does not mean a high risk of default, financial institutions are strong, and productivity is increasing, thus the danger of an economic fallout is minimal. Another key point for the motion was that to an extent, the national debt allows financial growth. One argument said that spending money stimulates the economy, which will then bring the government money and lower the deficit. People also think spending into a higher deficit is acceptable during a health crisis. The remaining 50% were against the motion, with 17% of submissions arguing that a rising deficit can lead to inflation and cripple the economy. One argument said national deficits fundamentally weaken a nation's economy and must be arbitrated to achieve a balanced resolution. Another key point against the motion was that national debt burdens future generations. One argument said, "We cannot pretend that we have money that we don't have. It's disrespectful to younger generations to run up the national deficit." People also said that high public debt is dangerous. While the world is so unstable with politics, wars, prevalent racism and extremism, also having high national deficits around the world will cause more instability. Please visit the website to see more results. Good luck to the human debaters.
One point made that we haven't brought to, and that's the social impact of deficits. People were mentioning things like global instability and things like war and extremism. To the team that's arguing against the resolution, I'll come to you, Otmar, on this one. Are deficits a threat to global security? We're not just now talking about the markets, but actually to global security overall.
I think we need stability in international relations. There are so many risks coming from geopolitics, and this is not a background against which governments should irresponsibly spend money. I think the trust, for example, in the dollar as a dominant currency of the world is based on the future stability of the currency. So I think a country like the US is the least one to risk the stability of its currency. And I would suppose that if a new US government, and including the Fed, would explain that they would apply MMT policies, the dollar would lose its leading position in the world, because people would be afraid that in the future their investment in US dollars would not be safe enough.